Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann. And I had a thought the other day. I was stuck in traffic, sitting at a left turn light lane, waiting for my turn to go, and it was rush hour, so I'm already at a disadvantage. The light turns green. The first car in the line doesn't go for the first 3 seconds. The next 4 do. It was a 7-second light. I counted by Mississippi's. A 7-second light. And if someone's going to be like, well, yeah, the signals have different times during the busiest times of day. No, because the next day at fucking 8 in the morning, guess what? Same shit, 7-second light. And it pissed me off because I had to wait through multiple cycles of this light just to turn left, when all the county government or MnDOT has to do is reprogram a few more seconds into that turn signal so more people go. Just because everyone that's going straight has to get home during rush hour doesn't mean people turning left and right don't also have the same need to get somewhere. And yes, I understand the irony of bitching about my plight when there's just as many people on the road, and I'm talking about there being just as many people on the road. The irony is not lost on me. The me, I'm the most important person mindset. But I'm just saying, I have been at stoplights before, waiting for my chance to go, and I get fucked by some idiot that's not paying attention. Fuck! And it happened one time, about 6 months after the 24th year double overtime T-Wolves win shit, which is a shit that I took in my pants because I got sick from all the food I ate at the game in the suite, and I didn't make it home in time to poo. I sat there for 45 minutes clenching my butt cheeks trying to keep the shit inside of me, and it hurt really bad. And I made it all the way to my parents' doorstep before my bowels gave out, and I pooed in my pants some. Uh-oh! So 6 months after that, I was sitting at a stoplight to turn left, and I figured I'd go to Target because my stomach was gurgling, and I panicked like, oh God, please don't let me shit my pants. I'll be 3 minutes late to work at Home Depot. I'll be a few minutes late to work if I could just stop and diarrhea at Target. Unfortunately, it was 7:30 in the morning, and Target didn't open until 8, so I was like, fuck. And I realized this as I was about to turn to the Target's lot. So as I'm sitting there, stuck at this light the other day during rush hour, I thought of that. And I called up number one fan Tim, who does road work. Signing crews, painting crews. He doesn't work with doing the traffic signals, but he's a part of a larger organization that repairs them and controls their functions. What would it take to get the length of time that a left turn arrow stays green? Who would you call? Who would you bitch to? And he said, oh, you'd call our organization and you would talk about the traffic signals to the guys in charge of those and just complain about it. And hopefully it's a county road, not a city road or a state road. And counties seem to operate the fastest, and they might tack some extra seconds on there. And being somebody that panics a lot because my bowels have failed me in the past, and I get diarrhea frequently, or basically when I have to shit, I need to shit. It might be diarrhea, and it might be a big giant forearm-sized turd coming out, but the point is that I'm getting to an age where I can't hold it as long as I used to, and I panic. So I'm stuck at that light, and I said to Tim, I was sitting there waiting to go left, staring at a Super America that was kitty-cornered from where I was. It's the first thing you can turn to on the right once you make the left onto the next street. What if, because they're trying to keep the flow of traffic going north and south faster than anybody else, they're giving, top billing to them, they get the most privilege. What if I shit my pants because they didn't give an extra 3 seconds on this left turn arrow? It could happen. I've shit my pants before, and I've been stuck at a left turn arrow worried that I was about to shit my pants. And I thought, Tim, what if I'm sitting at this light and I'm staring at Super America and I can see the oasis off in the distance, and I don't know if I'm going to make it there in time? It's like you're running towards the mirage of a fountain of cool water when you're lost in the desert. Only this instance, it wasn't a mirage. It was an actual fucking Super America where I could take a greasy dump free of charge, but I had to wait too long and I didn't make it. and I would have shit my pants because some dick trickle in charge of the traffic signals didn't give me enough fucking time.
Oh, dear God, no!
And he's like, well, yeah, you got a valid point there. He laughed about it because it's a funny hypothetical. I wasn't trying to get home to watch a TV show. I wasn't late to drop off my kids. I was going somewhere, and I get sick of sitting at stoplights. I lose so much time on left turn arrows. And one of the things they've invented lately is the blinking yellow turn arrow for the left. So you can turn right on red if there's a flashing yellow arrow in the left turn lane, and it's either red or green. You have the ability to cautiously turn left on that red or that green at any time because it's flashing yellow. Instead of waiting for a green arrow, you can just go on the yellow. And I've asked him about that before, about why they don't put that on every light, because back in the day I had there should be a go at your own risk rule, where if you're stuck at a red light and there's nobody around and you're sick of waiting and you got to get somewhere, you should be able to just go and the cops won't ticket you. But you go at your own risk, because if you start going, you cause an accident, you're now liable for everybody's medical monies and all that shit. The go at your own risk rule. I thought it was pretty fucking intelligent at the time. You couple that with this new flashing yellow left arrow thing, and you aren't waiting anymore. Getting into my neighborhood, there's a green left turn arrow that fucks me out of 3 minutes, I don't know how many times. And a lot of times, I'm getting home to take a shit. I'm getting home because the kids are crying. I'm getting home to get them in the tub so I can get them back to the beast on time. I'm trying to get home so we can watch Sesame Street because they don't want to miss the beginning, because all the important shit happens in the first 10-minute segment where there's the story with the lesson for the day. And I've asked him about that, and he's told me, well, the guy in the signal department said that it costs more for that signal, and not all are equipped to do it, and there's software that run it. They'd have to reprogram the signals. And why the fuck aren't we taking the money that we spend on stupid shit, like putting up more fucking deaf child area signs, or unnecessary signage, and devoting it to helping people get where they need to go faster? It's not just me. It would benefit everybody. Many years ago, I used to get a ride to school when I was in high school for the first 2 years from my dad. I went to school in Fridley. We lived in Coon Rapids. The old man always took East River Road. So he'd go all the way down to 694, and then he'd wait to turn left onto 694 off of East River Road, and that light took forever. And I remembered that my dad called MnDOT and bitched. And somebody came out and extended the length of time that the signal stayed green an additional 5 seconds, because it was like a 5-second light. We didn't have to wait as long to turn left anymore. My old man wasn't just barely getting to work on time like he had been. If you use the proper channels and you call the appropriate people and you're respectful, sometimes you get your way. There's an intersection in the city on the border of Coon Rapids and Blaine at Foley and Egret. And if you are turning one direction, or you're facing one direction, the left lane is for left turn only, the right lane is for going straight or turning right. On the opposing side of the street, there is a sign. There's not paint on the road like there's in the Coon Rapids side. On the Blaine side, it's apparently a private drive. I found this out because I called and I bitched. And I said, why can't somebody just paint the fucking arrows? Because it's like the Wild West, that people line up side by side and they both want to go straight. And then nobody knows who to merge. And accidents almost happen. And it slows down traffic. There's a sign on the Blaine side for the mall that the left lane is for turning left or going straight, and the right lane is for turning right only. It's the opposite on the opposing side of the street. What sense does that make to have one intersection on the border of two cities where different rules apply? And the fact that you're trying to make a left turn, you know you got to yield, people don't always put on their blinker, you think they're going to turn, and they start barreling through because somebody in the right lane goes straight. Because on the side of the road I'm on, they go straight. And I called the city of Blaine and bitched and said, was it going to take somebody getting maimed in a T-bone accident during rush hour holding up traffic for 45 minutes while the cops try to deconstruct who's at fault for somebody to get out there and paint some goddamn arrows on the street? That was 2 or 3 months ago I bitched. They still haven't done it. And I hadn't noticed that sign before, so maybe the sign is new. But what sense does that make? I wanted to get home with my burrito from Taco Bell. What I didn't want to do is almost hit a kid on a bike because I had to swerve out of the way if somebody was turning left who didn't know that the person next to me was also going straight but then changed their mind at the last second. It's chaos at this intersection. The government's supposed to listen to people, and logic and reason should prevail in these instances where you piss and moan about the fact that there's intersections that face each other, opposing sides of the streets. The rules are the exact opposite. It makes no fucking sense because you're utilizing the same intersection. And accidents that happen there could cause undue injury. Somebody could swerve to avoid an accident and hit a fucking traffic light and damage that. I mean, the point is that if you fix it now, you prevent all this hypothetical chaos and calamity. But that's not the government way, is it? They're not proactive, they're reactive. They're not for the people, they're for themselves. And if they can get away with half-assing it as often as they can, they will do that. So you got to get on the horn and you got to piss and moan about stuff. The next time I'm making a left at that particular light and I'm right there looking at Super America, maybe I've been too busy with my 4 kids that cause me to be in a mental fog all the fucking time and working third shift, which leaves me tired all the time, but somebody's got to babysit the sex offenders, druggies, and drunks when they're sleeping. And I didn't gas up my car, and I'm on fumes, and I know that I got just enough to get to that fucking gas station, or I got that diarrhea in the chamber, or I got a screaming kid that we got to pull over so the wife can feed the baby because she's not going to pull her out of the car seat and slap a boob in her mouth in the front seat because we're not Britney Spears. We obey the laws of the road. And we can't make it because of 3 fucking seconds that weren't extra tacked on to this goddamn signal because nobody calls in bitches or because the government's not considerate enough to give ample amounts of time for people going in every direction. Why the fuck do the people going straight get all the preference? It's just like the city of Blaine. They built all these overpasses and completely reconfigured the intersection at 242 and Highway 65 because it was so dangerous. They built a fucking bridge. And they want to build more bridges. More bridges on different streets that cost millions of dollars in infrastructure money that comes from the tax pool just to put bridges over Highway 65 so that you don't have to wait for a light and the flow of traffic keeps going. Now, bitching about spending that money is antithetical to my point of thinking proactively to prevent injury and wasted time, but it's as easy as changing the counter on a turn signal. And more importantly, fuck the kids that go racing through that crosswalk by the Taco Bell on Egret and Foley at the last second because there's a cross counter. And I've almost hit some of these pukes multiple times. They're like, what the fuck? And I have to yell out like an insane person, fuck you! Learn what the fucking counter means, asshole! My car's bigger than your goddamn bike! Don't your parents teach you about that? Car versus person, the car always fucking wins? Even if you get crippled and then you sue me out of existence, you still can't walk and you're pooping into a hip bag, you fucking dink. Fuck you and your goddamn mongoose bike. It's an actual conversation that I've had. So I just want to say, fuck left turn arrows. You are a blight on the American roadway. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann. And that's the end.
Trailers for sale or rent. Room still at 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. Ain't got no cigarettes. But 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 or 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. Third boxcar, midnight train, destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn-out suit and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. I smoke old stogies I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, every handout and every time, and every lock that's not locked when no one's around. Sing trailers for sale or rent, rooms still at 50 cents. No phone. no pool, no pets. Ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing boom as a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road.